Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. Frank Granito and Donald Eng in studio. Dom, we've got a very exciting show for today. We'll have Marco Grangerio, the paddle pro from the Country Club of Buchanan, number 5 APTA player in America, as they get ready for the first major of the season. We've got highlights of volleyball from yesterday and a preview for this afternoon's soccer game between Darien and Ridgefield. A busy show.
It is. I'm excited that when we talk about sports that I don't really know too much about. Platform tennis, paddle tennis. It's really interesting. I mean, it's one of the things I like to do. I like to learn new things.
Now, it is the bye week in the FCAC. This would normally be a football-oriented show for us, and we are going to start off the show with football, as we are joined now by Joe Buffard, who is the Northeast Director of Player Development of Football University. I'm going to call you Coach Boof, just for old time's sake.
You should.
It's great to see you, Joe. Thanks for coming on with us.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, well, of course. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about FBU in case they don't know what it is already?
Sure. Football University is a developmental camp based out of New Jersey, and we have created a developmental camp that's more of an advanced football camp for 6th graders to 12th graders. And what we do is we bring in NFL level coaches that have either played in the NFL or coached in the NFL. And we have built a curriculum that mirrors that of an NFL minicamp, in the fact that we have our athletes select a position of choice. They will choose that position throughout the entire program, good 20 hours of both classroom and on the field work. And again, I mentioned we run it like an NFL minicamp. High intensity drills on the field, tons of reps, but uniqueness is we film that. We go back into the classroom so that athlete and their NFL level coach, usually about an 18-to-1 ratio, now review that film and make more detailed corrections than having the coach stop the drills on the field and correct the kids. So it's coaching on the fly and then detailed instructions as they would be getting at the high-level college or pro level. And then we sprinkle in a little bit of seminars for the parents on recruiting and the athletes on recruiting, social media advocacy, leadership, things like that. And as our weekend of our practices progress, so does the intensity of. We do some 7-on-7 one-on-ones. So it's a non-padded environment that is a great opportunity for an athlete to really focus in on their technique, because again, you're getting expert level training as well as you're getting exposure. But whether you're 6th grade to 12th grade, we've got recruiting services there, NCSA, 24/7 sports, a variety of other scouting services that are there that can really springboard a young athlete's recruiting exposure throughout the weekend. And then from there, we've run, so we'll run 20 of those, and the one we do in Connecticut is right here. We've done it at St. Joe's for the past 2 years. It's been great. 200 plus kids have attended from all over the state and the tri-state area. And then from there, we've selected the top 10% or so per position and invite them to our Top Gun camp. Down this year is in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and there it allows a local athlete from here in Connecticut area to go compete with kids nationally. So it's a very similar structure that we had in our regional camp, but now I'm able to take a kid from Connecticut and compete with Texas, Florida, California, and so forth. So that's our FBU developmental camp. And then we as a company, our company is called All-American Games, and we run the U.S. Army All-American Bowl game, the National Combine for the underclassmen, and the FBU National Championship. We've had a team from Connecticut getting teed up right now, selecting that team, getting their coaches together that will compete in that national tournament in early December.
Now, Joe, you mentioned sending some of these Connecticut players to play against kids from like Texas, Florida, things like that in these elite camps. Connecticut is not really known as being a football state, but we have started sending some players on to some of these Division I colleges. In your opinion, what is the biggest difference between Connecticut football and some of these other states like Texas or Florida or Ohio where you cover?
Well, let's not single Connecticut out. There's some great football, as we all know. And there's some great individuals. So when I always ask that question when I travel the country is, I got to defend our country up here in the Northeast. So, it's not just Connecticut. It kind of, it's the Massachusetts, the Rhode Islands, even New York, believe it or not, is lumped into that. And what I really see when I evaluate, athletes, my territory is Ohio, Indiana, and East. And you look at, when I see some of those elite football teams, it's team speed. Not just individual speed. There's some individuals that, on the Connecticut teams and the Northeast teams that run a 4.5, 4.6, but there may be one or two of them. And some of the other ones, they've got 4 or 5 guys. More importantly it's just everybody's flying around. So if I had to sum it up to one thing, it becomes a culture. In some of those states of Georgia, Florida, that are football, heavy football strong states, it's a culture. In the Northeast, we don't necessarily have that football intense culture. We've got a multi-sport culture, meaning that once football is done for the season, the kids are transitioned right into wrestling, basketball, and other sports. There's a lot for the kids in the Northeast to do. So lacrosse is one of the bigger ones. So you could flip that conversation in sports like hockey and lacrosse and say the Northeast is the hotbed, and the other areas of the states are trying to catch up with that. And it's when it rolls the reverse when it comes to scholarship offers, a lot more kids in the Northeast are offered hockey and lacrosse offers comparable to the other states there. So to summarize it, it's really a culture, but if I had to put my finger on it, it's overall team speed as guys are just flying around at some of those elite schools.
Now, Coach, you mentioned there's the camp down in South Carolina. We'll also see there's a national combine at the same time as the Army All-American game in January. For the national combine, those are going to be your upcoming players throughout high school. What is your process like in selecting the Connecticut players? I think you said there were a couple you were looking at early on who might be invited to go to that camp.
Sure, Frank. So the invites have just gone out for the National Combine, and this is a great opportunity. Yes, we have the U.S. Army All-American Bowl game, which is the top 120 kids in the country. These are the best kids that are the Adrian Petersons, the Andrew Lucks that are all going on there, and extremely proud that we've got a kid from Connecticut. For first time in 6 years that we've had a kid from Connecticut be able to play in the U.S. Army All-American Bowl game. The undercard of that is the National Combine. Now, we've sent numerous kids. I think last year we sent about 18 kids from Connecticut. And that is an opportunity for kids to kind of audition, really be on a national stage. And it's ideally for the juniors with a couple sophomores. We'll have 650 kids from across the country down at that event. So when you think about the entire class of 2018 across all 50 states, 650 of them will be there to compete. So it really is. Now, what's the process of being selected is we have a selection committee that comprises of 24/7 Sports, our All-American Game staff, which I'm part of, and first come, first serve is kids who have Division I offers. So if you've been awarded a verbal offer, whether it be to Alabama or to Yale, you're on that, you're automatically given an invite. Then there's that second tier of kids that have earned it through going to various different events. So some kids, based on their performance at an FBU camp or at our Top Gun event, had earned an invite to the Combine, so they got in the second wave. And the third wave is athletes that I see in my day-to-day travel that I'm kind of tracking, that maybe they haven't attended, been at one of our events, but they're on my radar. People within my scouting network have recommended them. Kids will DM me film all the time. I'll go watch them a little bit and get a feel for them, and those kids are then awarded an invite. And we do have some, majority of them are 2018s right now for this January, but some are 2019s and a couple 2020s. So, but again, those kids are dominant there with those younger classmen coming in. So the National Combine is an elite event. Bleachers Report rated as one of the top 10 most valuable events to go to get some real national exposure, because all the scouting services, the rivals, 24/7 Sports, Scout.com, ESPN, they're all down there and evaluating the talent that's there.
Now, you mentioned before that a lot of these camps, invitations and getting recruited. How does a player, obviously, just being a dominant football player is important, but how does a player get on your radar or get on these national radars to kind of get themselves noticed?
Well, first of all, they got to get out. And one of the things I always recommend, whether it's the FBU camp or any other camp, is if your goal is to be considered a national prospect, and in my opinion, the definition of a national prospect is any school in the nation would want to recruit you. That you could be on the radar from Stanford to Alabama to any one of those big-name Division I schools or the mid-level Division I schools, all the way down to Division III. So the best way is if that's your goal, you need to get to events where people can help you and need to be seen. So unless the coaches from those schools are specifically at the events, like they had a satellite camp, Michigan had a satellite camp at Cheshire Academy this past spring, but if not, you need to go to where the writers of the media people are, of these ranking services are, whether it be 24/7, the rivals, Scout.com. You need to go to events where those guys are at. So you can go to all the combines you want, but unless one of these people here that's going to see you that has a voice, then you're kind of spinning your wheels a little bit. So the key thing is you get to certain events that the talent scouts are at. So whether it be an FBU event, whether it be coming to the local combines that I've run with the National Football Foundation chapter here, or regional ones, whether it be a rival showcase, the opening in New Jersey, some of those regional events to where you can be seen. Yes, you can go to a college camp and still get some recognition, but if you go to the BC camp, pretty much the BC coaches and the guys they bring on their staff from area coaches are going to see you. Alabama coaches are not going to see you up at the BC camp. So it's you need to go to those events where you can be seen.
Now, Joe, we got time for one more question. I want to go back to, you mentioned Connecticut for the first time in 6 years will have a player participating in the Army All-American Bowl game. That's Tariq Black. What can you tell us about Tariq? What kind of a kid has he been like to work with, and what's his ceiling really like now moving forward with his career?
Unlimited ceiling right now. The kid's, first of all, take away the football, being a 4-star kid, he's a 4-star person. I've been able to know Tariq and his family since 7th grade, and that was been through the FBU process because he joined as our 7th grader on our FBU team Connecticut, and then as he evolved, both his talent matured physically, he developed into a tremendous athlete, and then obviously great grades on top of that because Harvard, Notre Dame, Stanford, UCLA, Michigan, Alabama are all offering. So he's got not only the top football schools, but he also has the top academic schools all offering him. I think he's got 36 plus offers here. So, tremendous individual off the field as he is talent-wise. What is his ceiling? There is no ceiling for him right now. I think that he's surrounded by talent at Cheshire Academy this year, and he's going to declare his school at the Army Bowl, so we'll kind of see where he's going to be taking his talents, which would be kind of exciting on NBC, but to have a little Connecticut representation there. But his talent, his size, his strength, his speed, his ability to juke, he's got fantastic hands. So yeah, I think we'll see him definitely playing on Saturdays in the next couple of years.
Well, we got to see him back in New Canaan at the 7-on-7 Grip It and Rip It tournament, and it was you're right, the talent is unmeasurable, especially compared to some of the public schools that he got to match up against. But that Cheshire team having a great year. We're really excited to see him, as well as the other Connecticut players, participating in these FBU camps. Coach, I want to thank you again for coming on with us. We look forward to having you back again soon. And again, this is Joe Buffard of Football University. We're going to take a break here on Nutmeg Sports. When Don and I get back, we shift gears. We're going to talk a little platform tennis with one of the season's majors coming up right here in Connecticut, and we'll have some FCX action from around the conference.
1, 2, 3, FB, I want to find out how good I am. Yes, sir! If you relax, you get blown out. Let's get it done! Let's get it done!
What can you take advantage of right now?
Again, come on. I can push myself way beyond what you think.
Pressure technique. Bring it back.
Connecticut is coming back to hometown banking. To a partner that makes small businesses feel big. Where community comes first. Where high-tech tools go hand in hand with a human touch. Where you get the know-how only neighbors can deliver. Where saving time is important too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
At Mex on Main, Trumbull's very own Mexican grill, we're all about fresh, fast, and friendly service. Our Main Street restaurant offers the best in traditional and non-traditional Mexican dishes, with only the best ingredients, never frozen. From authentic burritos, fajitas, quesadillas, and salads, we have something on the menu for everyone in the family. And enjoy our open salsa bar, giving you more ways to customize your meal. Stop in for lunch or dinner at 6528 Main Street, Trumbull, or find out more at mexonmain.com.
When it comes to local entertainment, we've got it all.
From movies, local artists, etiquette, and more.
Watch HAN Arts and Leisure with me, Steve Coulter, and our Arts and Leisure editor, Sally Sanders, Mondays at 12:30, right here on the HAN Network.
Give your day a jumpstart with the latest news, sports, weather, and more on Coffee Break, live on the HAN Network, weekdays at 11 a.m. Connecticut news doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. Our thanks again to Joe Buffard of Football University for joining us today. Dom, we have a second guest now to the show. We'd like to welcome in Marco Grangeiro, the number 5 ranked player in the APTA men's national rankings, as well as the pro for paddle tennis at the Country Club of New Canaan. Marco, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks for having me on the show, guys. I'm really excited to be a part of it. Thank you.
Well, we are really excited to have you on as we get set for the first major of the season this upcoming weekend. Don, I think it's very exciting that we've got paddle tennis making an impact here in Connecticut now. Marco, could you tell our viewers a little bit at home about the APTA, their season, what it's like, and the event that's coming up this weekend?
APTA hosts, they run however many tournaments in the season. It's quite a large season starting in October through March. They do host they started last year Grand Prix Series tournament, which is considered the 5 major tournaments outside from nationals, and those starting up in October or starting up this weekend. Actually, Patterson Open will be the first stop for the Grand Prix. It's quite a heavy draw on both men's and women's sides. We have 56 teams on the men's and 32 teams on the women's side, and it's a very stacked, as they call it, very stacked draws on both ends. So we're really excited to be a part of it, and hope to do well.
Now, Marco, you grew up playing tennis. In fact, you went to college on a tennis scholarship. What drew you to platform tennis? How did that shift come about?
Certainly not the cold weather. I hated the cold weather. Starting out about, I want to say, 6-7 years ago, a buddy of mine said, "Come on, Marco." Coming from Brazil, I was like, not a chance. I'm not going to the cold weather. I'll hold the beer inside of the hut and I'll watch you guys play. And then that was actually about 8 years ago, about 5 years ago, that's when I got hooked into paddle. Again, one of my good friends said, "Marco, let's give it a second try." I said, "Why not?" And it was just basically I fell in love with it. I got hooked. It was definitely tennis was my learning curve. Paddle was definitely challenging in the first season or so, but then I fell in love with the sport and never looked back. The rest is history.
And it's clearly worked out for you, Marco, climbing all the way up to number 5 in the national rankings. You're going to be playing with a new partner in this upcoming tournament. What's that process like, and how do you go about meshing as you guys get ready to compete in the Grand Prix first tournament?
I am number 3.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. That's all right. Just want to make sure that we have that clear. Number 3 in the country. With last year's partner, we played for 3 seasons, but then this season we're moving. You went a separate way. I'm starting with a new partner who is a great, talented player. His name is Nathan Lefevre. I'm psyched to play with him. He has a regular partner, but I am in the mix as well. So I'm excited to join forces with him and see how it goes. Looking forward to this weekend with him.
Now, can you describe briefly for the viewers, describe the physical differences, and maybe the strategic differences between tennis and platform tennis?
Well, strategically, the biggest thing about the biggest difference between tennis and paddle is when tennis players make transitions to paddle, they struggle in, I want to say, the first 6 months or so, actually a full season, because it takes a lot more patience. Yes, there's a physical aspect of it, definitely a physical aspect of it, but it's a game of patience. They call the paddle platform tennis, more formally called, and paddle tennis as the informally called, as the chess of the racket sports. It takes patience. It's sort of a you have to make the right move, the previous shot and the previous shot to win the point in the next shot, and so on and so forth. So And the physicality of it, it's more so tournaments you play in a weekend, a weekend long. You don't play over a week. You don't play over 2 weeks. So when you sign up for a tournament, you have to be in good enough shape to play 4, 5, 6 matches in one day, depending on which draw you fall into. If you're playing in the main draw, you're going to be playing 3, 4 matches at most. If you're playing if you end up in a back draw, when you lose in a certain draw, you go into a consolation draw, and so on and so forth. And then you end up playing 5, 6 matches in one day. So the points can get quicker, in a sense, in paddle, but they can last as long as. I remember one of my matches last season in Philly. We counted. Because we have the live streaming these days, we have the ability to go back and then watch our matches and then see where we made mistakes and all, and benefit from good points. But we kind of wanted the points, and it lasted 204 shots back and forth. So in that sense, it could be a match of an hour, but sometimes you stumble upon rounds and teams that will keep you out there for 3.5 hours. Sometimes 4 hours. So
now, Marco, you just mentioned the live streaming, and we do want to remind our viewers that spectators are welcome this weekend at no charge if they choose to go to the Patterson's Club. It's at 1118 Cross Highway, and you can also see the game live at www.platformtennis.org. But Marco, let me ask you now, for Fairfield County, for the locals around here who are trying to get interested in playing paddle tennis, you're a pro at Country Club in New Canaan. What kind of opportunities are there to get into the game around us?
Yeah, you don't always have to be a member of a club. Certain clubs allow non-members to play, to take lessons here and there. You definitely want to look into your town and see if they have public courts and trying to get involved that way. I know certain areas do have public facilities, and definitely not as expensive to join, and sometimes not at any cost at all. Just sort of a permit, and then there's usually in public facilities there's usually a pro, someone that's heading the department that can guide you in a certain direction. But reaching out to local pros, I mean, we're open to a lot of suggestions and a lot of guidance. We don't strictly service our members usually, and so for the public who are interested in playing, can join a club. They're not familiar with the sport. Reach out to a friend who plays, and a pro friend of a pro, and we're certainly open to guide people. And basically, our goal is to get people out and learn the sport and then fall in love like we all did.
Well, we're very excited for this weekend, Marco. We want to wish you the best of luck in the tournament, and we want to thank you for coming on with us today. We can't wait to see how you do, and hopefully we'll have you back next week, and you'll be talking about how you won.
Great. Thank you very much, fellas, for having me once again. Good luck with everything, and anytime.
Thank you again. We're going to take one more break here on Nutmeg Sports, but when Don and I get back, we're going to shift gears, look at highlights from yesterday's volleyball match, as well as preview the girls' soccer match today between the Darien Blue Wave and the Ridgefield Tigers that the HAN will be covering live from Tiger Hollow.
This is now 44 years I've been in this business. Digital came along. After I was in business for about 6 years, I had to totally reinvent the business. So I had to make a tremendous investment in my business. And Milford Bank was there for me. I don't really just consider Milford Bank a bank. I consider them a trusted partner in my business. My name is Jim Wilson, owner of Milford Photo. I choose to bank with Milford Bank.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
At In Sports Trumbull, the game is always on inside. Recently renovated and home to one of Connecticut's largest indoor turf fields, In Sports is a multi-sport recreation center providing state-of-the-art facilities for league play, camps, and youth programs. In Sports College Baseball Coaches Camp takes place at In Sports on October 23rd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This unique limited space event features many of the area's top college baseball coaches who will work with high school players in a hands-on clinic setting as well as evaluate their infield skills. For more information, contact Mike Buswell at In Sports, 203-268-1214. Like and follow us on Facebook.
Hi, this is Leo Carl from Carl Chevrolet in New Canaan. And you've heard me talk about the Chevy Volt for years. The new model gets 53 miles on EV charge daily, plus 420-mile full range. But don't take my word for it. You need to come in and test drive the Volt yourself. Visit us at 261 Elm Street in New Canaan or online at carldirect.com.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune into Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN Network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN Network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier Network. And we've also reached 1.7 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. As we look at the action from yesterday's girls volleyball, the HAN Network was live at Fairfield Ward to see two of the top teams in the conference battle it out. Both Ward and Ridgefield came into yesterday's match with a record of 7-1. Looking to gain sole possession of second place in the conference. The Tigers wasted no time pouncing all over the Mustangs early and often on their way to a 3-0 rout. We have some of the highlights from yesterday. Let's take a look at them. Frank Granito with A.J. Simonowski. We've got a battle of two teams tied for second place in the conference. Touch there. One's got to come over from the back. Vaccarella. Meadowbrook will try again. This time she's got it. Big kill, and that ends set number one. It's 25-17 in favor of the Tigers. Shots at it before the final McNeese attempt sailed wide. Leinekin, far side. She wants Dupuis, and the touch shot's going to get it done. It's 2-0 now after a 25-15 second set victory. Far side, they want Colonel again. Comes to the near side of the court this time with the big finish. Catches a piece of the net, and that's how it's going to end. It was that kind of a day, AJ. The breaks just going the Tigers' way. So, Don, the Tigers able to cruise in this one. Really, there was never a doubt from the first serve until the last one. The bounce went Ridgefield's way, but they were just the better team yesterday.
No, clearly. I mean, whether it was the passing, the setting, and the big hitting from the outside, a big win for the Tigers.
And I was talking about with A.J. Simonowski during the broadcast. Ward only features two seniors. They jumped out to a very quick start this season. I think we'll see them maybe make a little bit of a run in the postseason, but it looks like a team that's a year away, that's very junior heavy.
Right, and they're kind of a year away from being in Fairfield Ludlow's position last year, that of having a senior-dominated team with a lot of experience playing in big competitive games that's really ready to make some strides.
Let's shift gears now here. Well, first, let's take a look at some of the other volleyball scores from around the conference yesterday. That included Norwalk beating Darien 3-1. Don, this is the third loss of the season now. This is the fourth loss of the season now for Darien. I don't think they lost 4 games in the past decade.
No, certainly a very surprising year for Darien. I don't know that any of us saw that coming. You don't want to start. You don't want to start burying them just yet. I mean, they still got plenty of time to get it back together. But certainly, this Blue Wave team not nearly the dominant level that they were last year.
McMahon over Central 3-0. Danbury defeated Trumbull by a score of 3-2. St. Joe's took down Staples 3-2. Wilton over Ludlow 3-1. Ludlow remains winless on the season, Don.
Yeah, if Darien has fallen a little bit from maybe where they were last year, Ludlow just a terrible start to the season. They still got time to get it together, but it's becoming clear, I think, that that this just might not be Ludlow's year.
Stanford took down Trinity Catholic 3-0, and New Canaan shut out West Hill by a score of 3-0. That all of the volleyball action from yesterday. Coming up later this afternoon, we will be live at Ridgefield High School, Tiger Hollow, when the Darien Blue Wave travel to play the undefeated Ridgefield Tigers in girls soccer. Don, coming into the game, Ridgefield 8-0 on the season, Darien 6-0-3. Darien has 7 shutouts on the year. Ridgefield has been one of the highest scoring teams in the conference. One of those has got to give. Which one will it be?
Well, since you're putting me on the spot, I'm going to say that my pick is that it's not going to be one gives, but I do think that Ridgefield's offense gets just enough to come away with the win today.
Both teams have been playing so well. Darien's got those 3 ties. Ridgefield, they're playing in the West, and I mean, really, girls soccer is probably the most balanced of the sports in the conference right now, with top-heavy teams in both the West and the East. Do you think getting to play in Tiger Hollow, that little bit of home field advantage, might play a factor today for Ridgefield?
I don't think playing in Tiger Hollow will play that much of an advantage. I just think Ridgefield is just a slightly better team, at least as far as they're playing at this point in the season.
Again, that game is set for 4 o'clock this afternoon. We will be live at 3:50. Don, we made it through the week. We've got a 4-day weekend coming up.
Oh, isn't that great? It's such a nice feeling as we wrap the show.
FCX gets the bye weekend. We'll take it with them, but not before we're at Tiger Hollow this afternoon for girls soccer. No coffee break tomorrow. Enjoy the weekend if you don't want to tune in.